How's it going, guys? Welcome back to the Wednesday edition of the Morning Vibe. Truly appreciate you guys tuning in this morning and watching. Hope everybody is having a fantastic week. While we are right smack dab in the middle of what is supposedly like a dangerous heat wave here in Florida, I'm thinking it's hot everywhere. I know we came off the baseball tournaments. We were in Cincinnati and then in Panama City Beach and then back to Myrtle Beach, and it was hot everywhere. There was no relief anywhere. I told Sarah we were actually on our way up to Cincinnati we had been home for like 3 or 4 days in between Myrtle Beach the first time. And I'm like, when we get to Cincinnati, it's probably going to be cooler because, we're headed like 10 hours north. That was not the case. Cincinnati experienced one of the hottest, weeks of their existence, the week we were there for that ball tournament. But man, what a great time. And that's kind of what I want to talk to you guys about this morning, is where we've been this summer and what we've been doing, and some takeaways from it and some lessons learned from it. I had this grand illusion, like if you guys are following along over on the Cameraman Ron channel, I had this grand illusion that we were going to be able to create content everywhere we went. And it was going to be a piece of cake to put out 2 videos a week over on the Cameraman Ron channel. And we had the podcast stuff with us, and, we were going to make podcast videos, and we did that to an extent, but we weren't able to like hone in on it and do it everywhere. One, because I realized when we first got to Myrtle Beach for that first run that fishing was tough. I mean, it really was. It was all land-based fishing. Obviously didn't have the boat with me or anything like that. So, fishing was tough. Thank goodness, I met John Scheidel from Myrtle Beach Surf Fishing Adventures. Had it not been for him, I don't know that I would have gotten any videos those 3 weeks that we were in Myrtle Beach. And then of course, when we went up to, Myrtle Beach this last time, we got hooked up with Von Hall. He's one of the Fish Bites guys, and, just golly, man, I told somebody the other day, I've met a lot of people in this industry, and I've met a lot of great people in the fishing world and in the content creation world. But I'm going to tell y'all right now, I don't know that I've ever met anybody as good of a person and as genuine as Von Hall is. I'm just a straight up amazing dude, man. He's been a charter captain for years, ran over 3,000 fishing charters. And he, one of the things he's focused on, he's really dialed back on his fishing charters. But one of the things he still does is he takes our veterans out fishing. His charter service, American Boat Charters, out of lower North Carolina. There, I don't know the exact town that we were in. But what an amazing dude! Their hospitality, him and his wife Mo, was just out of this world to Sarah and I. So huge shout out to them. But it really, there were a lot of takeaways from this summer, if I'm not mistaken. And I rarely address haters. Okay. Like I do. And I don't even know that this person meant to be a hater. But that is kind of what I want to talk about in some of the stuff we took away from the summer. Not that I owe anybody an explanation, but I do feel like because we've always been so transparent with our audience, I like to keep you guys in the loop of what's going on in our life and how we're doing things. And I had somebody comment, it was the dumbest thing, honestly. Like, me and Sarah went offshore with Ryan Reed. Ryan Reed is a good friend of mine over in Destin, Florida. He is a charter captain, but he is kind enough to take us out on his boat. And that's what I think people get this misconception that if we're out with a charter captain, that we paid for a charter that day. And most of the time, that's not the case. Now, I give Ryan money for fuel. I don't want him to cost himself money to take me fishing. That's not what that's not what I'm about. I mean, I've never been that guy. I understand that those boats don't run on thank yous. Like, I get it. So, I mean, I give him fuel money, but for me, that's no different than putting fuel in the Mako. If I'm going out on a boat, whether it be the Mako or whether it be in Ryan Reed's boat, I'm gonna take care of fuel or help take care of fuel, depending on how many people's on the boat. But I think people get this misconception that we go out and we book all these charters, and that's just not the case. Most of the time, we are doing these videos for these charter people as promotions for their channels. We fish with them. We help to promote their charter businesses in an area. That's why you don't see me go out with like 15 different charter captains in Destin or 10, because I don't want to do that. If I go out with 1, maybe 2, just because, everybody, that one person can't book everybody. So, if somebody's got a buddy or something that they want me to help promote, as long as they're, a good charter service, I'm more than happy to go out with them and help promote their business. But anyways, we were out and Sarah took a picture of me shooting my intro. We put it over on the Coastal Country Facebook page, and somebody was like, I don't understand how these videos pay you enough to live the lifestyle that you live. And man, that's one of my biggest pet peeves. That's the same thing as it must be nice. that it must be nice. It drives me more crazy than anything you can imagine in the world. If you ever want to find something to say to me that really, really will get under my skin, it must be nice would be the way to go. And here's why. My response to him was, at first I just kind of let it go. And then Darcy and Brian jumped in and they were joking, and they're like, because I did reply. I said, I was like, what lifestyle is that? I'm like, I live about the simplest life of anybody you'll ever meet. I live in a 2-bedroom house with a bonus room that we put our other son in. I drive 2 older vehicles that are not brand new by any stretch of the imagination. I have a budget-friendly boat. So I'm like, what lifestyle exactly are you talking about? And then Darcy and Brian got on there and they were kind of joking around. They're like, are you kidding me? He literally lives in a van down by the river. And this guy come back and he said something else. And what they were referring to was, most of the time when I travel, I budget for, depending on which is going to be the cheapest way. If it's going to be cheaper for me to drive the truck and sleep in the truck, like if I'm going to be gone more than 2 nights, I'm taking the truck, because then I can just pull into a rest area, Walmart, whatever, and sleep in the back of the truck. I've got the back of my, that Silverado, I've got it fixed up like a camper. But if I'm only going for a night, then most of the time it makes more sense to take the Kia and get a hotel room, because gas in the Kia is literally, a tenth of what it is in the big truck. So it's a balancing act for me. But anyways, I would keep getting off point, trying to justify my actions. So when he got back and he's like, yeah, but we all know he doesn't really do that. So I commented and I was like, hey, I'm like, imagine if you were walking down the street and someone that does not know you walked up to you, and this goes to anybody, not just this guy. And they're like, I don't understand how you live the life you live doing what you do. Guys, you can never say that to someone unless you are in that home with them, because nobody knows what people go through to make life work for them. Now, do we live a comfortable life? Yes. Do I work my tail end off every day for that? And so does Sarah. Absolutely. We still do weddings. And I told him, I was like, you might work 3 jobs. You might have so much stress you can barely deal with it. You might have to make so many sacrifices that people don't see, all in the name of living the lifestyle you want to live. Now, Sarah and I do not live above our means by any stretch of the imagination. We live way below our means, as a matter of fact. I mean, we live, like I said, a very basic house, drive very basic cars. We do that because we like to travel. We want to spend our money on experiences, on memories with our kids. That's what we enjoy. I would much rather have a $300 a month car payment, or no car payment at all with the brown truck, and take that money and every 3 months take a big trip and go somewhere and travel and create content and fish and do stuff with the kids or whatever we're doing. And I think what the misconception that happened this year was where we spent 2 months on the road. And what people didn't understand is we were working those 2 months. We were being paid to be where we were. And not only were we being paid to be where we were, they were also furnishing us with accommodations. So it wasn't costing us any money. We were working. So yes, we spent 2 months on the road this summer. However, during those 2 months, we were working the entire time that we were there. We were making money instead of spending money. But it cracks me up. And it's just a microcosm of the way things are. And I know that when you choose to put your life on the internet, like Sarah and I do, I know those things are going to come. And most of the time I just brush them off and I don't let them bother me. But I felt like this one was worth talking about, not necessarily to me or for me, but for other people that may see this. And what I want to stress is, don't let other people control your life or your lifestyle. You're the only one who knows what it takes to make your life click, period. If you're married, you and your spouse. If you got kids and they're grown, maybe you and your spouse and your kids. No one else has, there's an old saying, and I don't want to say it because it is rather vulgar, but it's basically like, if you're not in my bed, if you're not in my house, and you're not in my, how's it go? If you're not paying for my bed, you're not paying for my house, and you're not paying for my car, then you don't get an opinion. And that's so true, because at the end of the day, you are the only one who knows what you have to put in to make your life work. You can't be influenced by people outside of that in a manner where they're like, oh, it must be nice to live that lifestyle. it just, those words tick me off so much because yes, it is nice. But at the same time, I could turn around and look at you and say, hey, it must be nice getting to spend all day Saturday and Sunday with your kids, because I don't get to do that a lot because I have to work weddings and they happen to be on weekends. So yes, if you see me fishing on a Monday or Tuesday, those are my 2 off days. Now, mind you, nowadays we actually get paid to fish, but we have worked our butts off to get to that point to be able to do that. Too many times in this life, and I know this is going to upset some people, we have got too many people in this world right now who feel like the world owes them something for nothing. And that's just not true. That is just not true. No one in this world is owed anything that you don't work for. Every single day, I have to work to attain the things that I have, the things that I want, the things that I get to do. Everybody has to do that. The world owes me nothing, not a single thing. I could stop making videos tomorrow. There's nobody owes me more money from Google. It's not like, oh, I've put in my work, now I'm going to get paid for the rest of my life. That's not how it works. Success is never owned. It is rented, and that rent has to be paid every single day. I can't. That's not my line. Somebody, I wish I remember who said that. But because I would love to give them credit, because again, you guys know I don't get on here and spout off stuff like this is just coming off the top of my dome, because it is not. But just think about that. Success is never owned. It is merely rented. You always have to pay the rent on your success. If you stop tomorrow, it will go away. Unless you're like way up there in age and you're retired and you can, you got enough money that you can just coast through. Hey, by all means, you've made it. You've done that. Go for it. But for the vast majority of us, you have got to pay that rent every single day. And that means getting up and working hard. That means taking on side jobs if you have to. That means taking on other weddings that I might not want to take on. That means maybe getting up at 3 a.m. and going and making a video that I don't want to make. Or maybe I got to get up and drive 3 hours because what's going on around me is not working. I'm okay to do that because I understand that with success comes responsibilities. The content creation world is more of the iceberg effect than probably any other career path you would ever choose. So if you are looking at becoming a content creator or you want to make money doing this, you have got to keep in mind that all you're seeing is the glamour. That's it. We don't go on here and show you the days we don't catch fish. We don't go on here and show you the money we spend. I mean, just this past week, I had a day where I spent $130 and I didn't make a video out of it. Nothing. I have nothing to show for it because it just didn't work out that day. I'm okay with that. There's been plenty of other days where I've hit the water and I've been out there for an hour and I did fine. I made a video. I made a lot of money off of it, and we rolled on. So no big deal. It's a balancing act, but no one ever sees that. They don't see what's under the surface. All they see is the glamour of the finished product. They don't see the sitting here in the office. On the back half of this office, you guys see the podcast half most of the time. On the other corner of this office is all of our studio stuff or all of our editing stuff. So I've got computers and all kinds of stuff over there that's going on, and it's like, that's where all the work happens. It's not fun. I don't enjoy sitting over there and editing for 14 hours a day, but we do it because that's what we do to make it work. And that's what so many people do to make it work. So don't ever look at somebody and think, man, they got a new car every year. That must be nice. Think about what they had to do to get that new car, because that's what's important to some people. I don't want to make it sound like I'm knocking people who have a nice house or a nice car. That's not the point of this talk. My point is we choose to allocate our money elsewhere. So we back off of some of these other things because that's what we have to do. Now, would it be nice if I had enough money to go out and buy a brand new car every week and do the things we have to do? Sure. And maybe someday I'll be at that point, but I'm not there yet. I haven't worked hard enough to get to that point yet, or I haven't found that success to be able to get to that point. Now, Johnny down the street, he might buy a new car every year, but that might be what he's into. Like that could be where he wants to allocate his money and where he wants to spend his excess income. And that's fine, but don't judge him for that because he's working somewhere to be able to do that. It's not a must be nice. It's not one of those deals where he walks down the street and somebody's like, oh, there's Johnny. Here, Johnny, have a new car. That's not how it works. So he is doing something to allow himself to afford that lifestyle. It might be working a part-time job and, in excess of his full-time job just to make that work. It may be doing a side hustle. You just never know, guys. So don't look at someone and be like, it must be nice. That's the most deteriorating thing you can say to an individual, in my opinion. It must be nice. It is nice, but I worked my ass off for it. So I deserve to have it nice. Guys, that's all I got for you today. I know I went on a little bit of a tangent here. Sorry. Didn't mean to do that. We'll be back. Hopefully this was a motivational Wednesday. Leave a comment down below if you think this was motivational or if you thought this was just me ranting, because I do that sometimes. So guys, I truly appreciate each and every one of you. Appreciate your patience with the morning vibe. I know it's been crazy. I promise you, we are working to get onto a set schedule. We got a lot of big things in the works right now. We've been doing some style changes over on the Cameraman Ron's channel. And I've really been putting a lot of focus on that. But we are getting back to a point where we are going to put a major focus on that here on the Morning Vibe. Guys, as always, make sure you find a way to smile some. I can't talk. Guys, as always, make sure you find a way to make somebody smile today. You never know. It just might change the world. We can't wait to see y'all on the next one. Y'all take care. We will see you soon.